Alice Treske, a woman who understood elementary engineering by the age of 6, was born on Passage. Her homeworld functioned as a stopping point between human colonies, and as such its population levels were modest. Nevertheless, this did not deter the Office of Naval Intelligence from discovering Alice and her remarkable talent. As with the other final 74 Spartan-II candidates, 6-year-old Alice was abducted from her home and transported to the UNSC's largest military-industrial complex, Planet Reach. She became Alice-130, leaving her surname behind as only a fading memory, and she was trained to become one of the greatest warriors humankind had ever produced. Unlike several of her peers, she welcomed this complete lifestyle shift, suffering no emotional trauma. However, when she was subjected to the Spartan program's augmentation phase under Project Aster in early 2525, her body rejected its chemical and physical amplifications, causing her to wash out of the program. It is currently unclear if she only suffered injuries and/or deformities, or if she actually died. Regardless, she was reconditioned and successfully re-augmented at a later date, sometime prior to 2531. She was given a suit of Mjolnir-powered armor and assigned to a variant of Spartan Red Team, in which she currently serves alongside fellow washout reversals Jerome 092 and Douglas 042. In 2531, during the Battle of Arcadia, Red Team was deployed to assist in the evacuation of Perth City. When the Spirit of Fire arrived in search of a Forerunner artifact, its crew deferred their hunt so they could help to evacuate civilians and push back Covenant forces. After the evacuation had concluded, Red Team and a contingent of Spirit of Fire ground forces, including Sergeant John Forge, retreated to the city outskirts. They held out against encroaching enemy forces until the arrival of Spartan Team Omega. The Spartans and remaining SOF holdouts overran and destroyed the nearby Covenant citadel, creating breathing room for the Spirit of Fire's ground forces to resume their search for alien artifacts. Team Omega were redeployed elsewhere, while Red Team remained to help with the Spirit's investigation. After Red Team and Spirit ground forces pierced a Covenant energy dome surrounding a set of Forerunner ruins, Professor Ellen Anders and Sergeant Forge went in to investigate the ruins. However, before she could thoroughly examine the site, Professor Anders was kidnapped by the Arbiter, Repa Morami. Red Team arrived moments too late, only managing to recover an indignant Sergeant Forge. Red Team chose to board the Spirit and continue with them in their pursuit of Professor Anders. Alice is the only member of Red Team who is not known to have antagonized Sergeant Forge by insinuation or outright recommendation that they destroy the Covenant vessel that was carrying Anders. The Spirit of Fire followed the enemy starship to Shield World 0459, the Etrin Harborage, where it discovered bizarre signals emanating from the surface. Red Team were sent alongside a small reconnaissance force to investigate the planet. Here, they encountered the virulent Flood, making Alice one of only 4 Spartan-IIs known to have battled this ancient parasite. The Spirit of Fire eventually extracted its troops from the surface before it was pulled through the planet's outer shell into the hidden Dyson Sphere. The Spartans were redeployed to fight Covenant forces in the pristine internal environment, although the Flood also found their way inside, quickly contaminating what had been left unsullied for millennia. Having located Anders shortly after she escaped from captivity, the SOF crew formulated a plan to neutralize the fleet of Forerunner Sojourner-class dreadnoughts that had been activated involuntarily by the Professor. They used their ship's slipspace drive to create a bomb that would destroy the Etrin Harborage, thereby saving humanity from a swift end at the hands of the Prophet of Regret. Though the makeshift bomb was damaged in a skirmish with the Arbiter, Sergeant Forge sacrificed his life to activate it, thusly eliminating both the Forerunner dreadnoughts and the local Flood infestation. Red Team escaped aboard the Spirit of Fire, and having no slipspace drive to take them back to human-occupied space, they went into cryosleep, waiting for rescue. 28 years later, they were wakened after the ship was transported through slipspace to Installation 00, the Ark. Having no understanding of why this had happened, the SOF sent Alice and Red Team to investigate a UNSC distress signal coming from the surface of the installation. What they discovered was a new threat, neither Covenant nor Flood, but just as willing to fight them. Atriox made short work of Red Team, forcing them to flee with a severely wounded Douglas. While Jerome returned to the Spirit with Douglas and the AI, Isabel, Alice was seemingly killed by a Banshee bomb. Of course, she had survived. She recorded her experience on the Ark while cut off from her allies. She freed groups of imprisoned Spirit of Fire ground forces and led them against local banished patrols. Alice was eventually contacted by Isabel and Captain Cutter and was asked to continue her guerrilla warfare with support from the Spirit of Fire. She happily accepted. The Spartans sustained a successful campaign against the banished and later established a firebase in the immediate vicinity of a portal controller. After Jerome and Douglas removed the banished monopoly on the Ark's portal network, Alice became the guardian of the last functional controller. While the SOF was under attack from the assault carrier Enduring Conviction, Alice held out against waves of amphibious and air attacks from the banished, culminating in the destruction of a scarab walker. With the enemy siege broken, Alice was advised to leave an outpost at the controller's location and was then redeployed to help in Isabel's scheme to board and destroy the Enduring Conviction. The plan worked, and Jerome was able to board the assault carrier, enabling Isabel to destroy the ship. Shortly thereafter, Alice and Douglas raced to prevent the banished from gaining a strong foothold on a newly forged Installation 09, the second replacement for Alpha Halo. They managed to commandeer a scarab, which Alice ceded to Douglas when he asked for the driver's seat. Alice proceeded on foot, her chain gun sufficing. They broke through banished reinforcements en route to a newly opened portal, one of several that was intended to be used by Sentinels to, quote, finalize preparations on a new Halo ring. They set explosive charges on the access point, which would detonate after they had passed through onto the ring. Once on the installation, Alice and Douglas were reunited with Jerome, and together, Red Team set out to prepare the way for Professor Anders to take control of the Halo. While battling the already present banished, the Spirit of Fire's advanced forces encountered a deadly Retriever Sentinel. Red Team then captured 3 corresponding pylons, which gave Anders control of the Sentinel. She then utilized the Retriever to disable a shield wall surrounding the entrance to the control room. Alice, Douglas, and Jerome took up defensive positions alongside SOF reinforcements to give the Professor time to get inside the control room. They stood firm against relentless enemies, and with the help of a modified Condor, they outlasted the banished. Anders gained control of the installation, ejected the remaining banished from the ring's surface, and promptly departed through slipspace with the hope of contacting the UNSC. Alice evacuated the Halo along with the rest of the human forces. To the best of our knowledge, she continues in the Spirit of Fire's fight against Atriox and his banished, with both sides restricted to the Ark as of June 2559. With this video, I'd like to make an observation. Jerome is usually given the most attention out of the 3 members of Red Team, due mainly to his charisma and chemistry with Isabel. It's been suggested by many a Halo fan, myself included, that he and Isabel could fill a similar narrative role to Chief and Cortana in future games. However, it's important not to overlook Alice, or Douglas, as a valuable character. Her skills, persona, and general approach to life are among the best possible combinations for a Spartan-II warrior, in my personal estimation. She is tenacious, effective, and self-sacrificing.